A major courtroom verdict in the United Kingdom is closing one of the most disturbing child exploitation cases, especially in the recent memory. But how did a group of 15 men operate for years before finally being stopped in a country like UK? And what does this case reveal about the long-term failures in protecting a vulnerable child? Well, this is the case emerging from Bradford, where a grooming gang of 15 men had now been sentenced to a combined 188 years of prison. The court heard that the men carried out repeated abuse against teenage girl over several years from 2007 till 2011, and that time the victim was very underaged when this all began and it all took place, and then continued until she reached adulthood. However, the full scale of the case only became clear after the years of investigation, legal preparations, and multiple trials. Police say that the case first came into focus in 2015 when the missing person reports triggered concerns about the possible exploitation, and that discovery led to a full investigation in 2016 and eventually resulting in multiple arrests and separate court proceedings due to the complexity of the cases. And yet, the most powerful voices in this case is not in just the courtroom, while it is in the survivor herself. Speaking after sentencing, she describes how the abuse has shaped her entire life. She says that it has consumed nearly 2 decades of her existence. Now, that's too deep, by the way. She said the trauma cannot simply be erased, even with justice delivered in the court. And the case is not only about punishment, but it is about how such crimes can remain hidden for years despite warning signals. Now, authorities say that reporting restrictions were lifted only after all related trials conducted. They all concluded. Even after that, the full details is now made public. The sentences in the case may vary, with some of the accused receiving more than the decade of prison, while others facing even more long terms, depending on the number of offenses proven in the court. Officials have described the crimes as deeply disturbing and have praised the survivors' courage for coming forward and then continuing through the years of legal proceedings. Now, make no mistakes here, investigators say that this case sends a very strong message that any exploitation against underage people will be pursued regardless of how much did it pass, by the way. However, the question still remains about how many similar cases are still hidden and whether early warning systems are strong enough, or maybe they are being ignored. And after all, is this where the story becomes even more difficult? Because while one case has now reached the closure in the court, the wider challenge of protecting the vulnerable children is far more from over. And for many watching this case unfold, the central question remains unanswered. Could this have been prevented earlier? What are your thoughts on this? Make sure to comment down below.